Frack and cheese, everybody. Good to see everybody back again. We are here and welcome to our dinky little corner of the internet that we like to call Frack the Consoles. It is the show about consoles, people who frack with them. I have found two other such frackers who frack with consoles to hang out with me, and that is number one, Tyler Weiss. What's up, buddy?
Howdy, happy to be fracking with you.
Nice, buddy. I'm glad you're fracking with me. Ken, what's up, dude?
Hey, there's no other men on this planet I'd rather frack the console with.
Thank you, sir. All right, dude. All right. So before we jump into topics, I do like to see what has been going on with you, peeps. Tyler, let's start with you. What have you been playing? Have you been playing anything?
I got back on the Dragon Ball Fighters train, and that people say it's basically dead, but I don't believe so. What's basically happened is now there's a huge divide between like players who just spam like the cheapest crap, and like UI and Zeno players, which are like the highest and hardest people to beat. So luckily when I play, most of the time I'm playing like the greatest of all players. And it's been an exciting challenge I've very much been enjoying.
What system do you play on?
Oh, I'm Xbox all the way.
Nice. Who do you main as well?
Oh, fun question. I have the messiest team. So Tien is my main, and then Bardock and Frieza are next. So I zone with Frieza and then just kill everyone with Tri-Beam.
Nice. You're more of a like an assist kind of a player on that, or?
Yeah.
I mean, the game itself lends itself to assist players. I think I get my butt kicked a lot because I lack on the assisting.
Not a fighting game guy myself, but I love to watch those videos because it's super impressive when you can see somebody who knows what they're doing, and just like straight body or combo. So.
And that's like one of the cooler things about playing fighting games, especially when a fighting game is animated well and the controls allow you to just feel really cool because it's just animated really well, you know. And like to your point, Kenny, like you could just watch Dragon Ball Fighters and it's like watching a little anime. It's just awesome to look at.
It's like an uncanon episode of Dragon Ball Z. It's awesome.
Yeah. All right, Kenny, man, what have you been up to? What have you been playing, man?
Lego Jurassic Park on the Switch because it was on sale, and sometimes I like those little Lego games because they're fun. They're super easy. You can just mind check out. You can play it for 20 minutes to an hour at a time. Like, it doesn't demand much of you. And then they're super easy to complete as well. So whenever I find like I don't want to invest too much work or effort into a Call of Duty or I don't know, Kingdom Hearts or anything like that, I'll pick up one of those games because they're funless little pieces of candy, or not funless. They're fun pieces of candy that have a lot of like easy in and out moments.
Awesome. So then let me ask you a follow-up question. Well, first follow-up question. What are you playing that on? What do you play that on?
I'm playing that on Switch. I think all the Lego games went on sale on Switch like a week or so ago. But I usually play them on PlayStation because I'm a trophy hunter. Like I like getting the completionist trophy for most of the games I play, unless it's multiplayer based or ridiculously impossible. The sad statement behind that or meaning behind that is none of it's impossible because it's doable. It's more if it feels impossible to you, it's more skill based impossible. So it reminds you that you're not as good as the person who made this trophy. The Lego games are never like that. It's always just a collectathon, and so I don't mind sinking 20-30 hours and collecting however many golden bricks, and at the same time I get to replay whatever the Marvel storyline is or the Star Wars storyline or the Jurassic Park storyline. In those games, whenever they go on sale, they usually go on like a really good sale for like $5 to $15. no, those are always worth it to me for the time I'm gonna sink into it versus the money put into it. Like the equation is ridiculously good in my brain. So I always grab them when they go on sale.
Yeah, I've played typically Lego games when there was like a huge Marvel drought of games. You know what I mean? Like there were
Mhm.
superhero games, and I like playing comic book games. You know,
Low
um,
key, the Marvel Lego games are some of the best Marvel games like out there. Like they're better than the Square Enix Marvel game. I can tell you that. One, because you don't have to spend endless amounts of money to play it, and two, because like it's kind of faithful. Like there's a lot of lore behind it, a lot of lore into it, and you can play as like 150 plus characters.
Plays
Um,
Galactus.
yeah, yeah, you can. They're all there, so it's fun. It's just easy fun for those games.
for sure. All right, last follow up question about it. What is your favorite Lego game?
Ooh, the I gotta go with the Lego game that got me into them, which is Lego Star Wars, the prequel trilogy. So 1, 2, and 3, purely because that first um or that final boss battle in episode 1 with Darth Maul, the way that they do that in the Lego game is so good with how it's compared to the movie. And so like fun and challenging, and Duel of the Fates is just an amazing track, and you could put that to anything and I'll give you my attention. um so like I gotta go with the Lego, the at least the prequel. I I've played up to 6. I haven't played 7, 8, 9, and it's not because I hate 7, 8, and 9. It's just if they when they go on sale, I'll buy them and I'll play them. But I think my next Lego series that I'm looking at is probably the Harry Potter series.
Right on, right on. Me myself, I have been playing. I bought the Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy,
Ooh,
and I have been playing that this week. I actually plan on putting out a little review of it as well. So stay tuned for that.
quick
However,
question. Did you buy the basic or the deluxe?
the basic, because I don't need the
Okay.
deluxe.
Yeah. So the deluxe is like skins and maybe a couple other things.
Exactly.
Soundtrack.
Yeah, skins. Maybe the soundtrack. I gotta look at it again. I do know
Yeah.
that it was like basically more skins, but the reason I pre-ordered it was because it came with the original Guardians of the Galaxy
That's
2008
right.
skin, and like
Yeah.
it's rare that I'm into a lot of comic book stuff, but it's actually rare that I am into a comic book version of something before I'm into the other version of it, right? You know what I mean? Like I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, but it's because of the cartoon. You know what I mean? I'm a
Yeah.
huge, other thing fan, but it's usually because of some movie or some this, and then
Yeah.
into that. But Guardians of the Galaxy is like one of the few things that I got into before the movie came out, and then was excited before that, and so like I really liked the OG like look of them. Not OG, but like 2008 again, like the revamp of them before the movie revamp of them. But I really like that era of them. So, and I've been really liking Guardians of the Galaxy the game. It's sort of like a mixture between like what like those Telltale games are and like a AAA third person action game is. It seems like it'll kind of be like short, but I'm not finished with it yet. It's kind of chapter based. And it's kind of like bit 70-30, like comic versus movie, 70 MCU, 30 comic book. So, and it's a good mix because I do like what they did with the MCU, but I also wish they had more comic ties
Yeah.
to it. And it's kind of like that perfect mixture of comic Guardians and movie Guardians.
Movie. Okay. So quick question then. How much do the characters like have background chatter while you're playing the game?
A whole lot, like way more than I imagined, right?
That
Like,
was an issue that I potentially had with it. and it's not because I don't want to hear it, but produced by Square Enix. Battle style is very similar to the Final Fantasy VII remake, which is a game that is very personal and dear to my heart, which would have sold me on the game, but the Guardians game. But knowing how much background chatter is in the Final Fantasy VII game and how many times you hear the same lines, I'm like, I don't know how many times I can hear the same jokes from characters that I feel are trying too hard to mimic the movies. But hearing you say feels more like comics than movies, definitely pushes me more toward getting that game.
Well, let me kind of just I won't spend too much time on this because we do have an actual show to talk about. But
yes, it's a lot of pre-show.
Yeah, I was, but I'll just say this to kind of assuage your fears. Like, there's a reason that I said Telltale and not Mass Effect, because there are Mass Effect comparisons being thrown around, and there are Telltale comparisons being thrown around. But this is a much smaller experience. This is a much small. It's a much more in line with what Telltale is, but like you could play it instead of your quick time things. You know what I mean? It's a lot much more like you're on rails kind of a thing, kind of a linear experience. And so like don't expect to hear the same lines over and over again, because as you're going through the chapters, it may be like sort of set up and scripted, but it's like you're not really gonna dwell and hang around and sit around talking to people. You can talk to people, but it's not really the point to just kind of lounge around, you know what I mean, about the bomb.
Okay, cool.
All right, moving on. There is all right. What we came here to talk about today? Well, the main topics today. I wanted to talk a little bit about recently the Switch online service had an expansion. So the Switch online expansion pack service previously released Switch Online. I think it was like 2 years ago now. It came out. It was $20 a year, and you could basically they started to release NES Online. There's a collection of games you can play there. There's SNES Online. It's a collection of games that you can play on there. You can also play games online with this service, and anything that you would need, online. Now, $20 comparatively isn't a lot of money. I don't even want to do the math on how much that is a year. But $20 comparatively isn't a lot of money. But now they've added this expansion pack, and that is $50 online. And what they add is a couple of online consoles to the consoles that they already had. So there's N64 and Sega Genesis games that they've added, as well as an ability, as well as if you play Animal Crossing New Horizons, there's some new DLC that's launching on November 5th, that you will get access to at no additional cost. So, first question. How do you guys feel about the Nintendo Switch online expansion?
You can go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah, sure. So about time N64. I think everybody, when the Nintendo and Super Nintendo came out, were like, "Where's N64?" Because that's what we all like grew up with. Unless you're 40.
Whoa, personal attack. I'm not 40, but I grew up.
No, I mean we're all like the same age, but you know what I mean. There are people now who play consoles like that and older.
Definitely.
I'm stoked. Mainly because my main use of Switch is like playing with my wife and stuff. We play like multiplayer games, so I'm excited we're playing the old Mario Kart and stuff. And I'm definitely excited for Zelda Ocarina of Time, because that, in my opinion, is consistently considered to be one of the best games of all time, rightfully so. And there are some games I wish were on there, like GoldenEye, but the usage rights, I understand as to why that's not there. And Switch always consistently needed help with the online stuff, so I'm happy they're moving in that direction. That is all.
Yeah, and I agree. Like, I'm excited for it too. And just to jump on that, because you said a specific game, which I'm excited for, which is Ocarina of Time. One of my favorite, growing up, one of my favorite gaming experiences. It is the game that got me into RPGs period. I've never looked back ever since, and I like the sense of freedom that you got in that game, and just the way that game sort of made you think and work out puzzles, as well. So I'm super excited for it. And to preface this, I do plan on upgrading. I haven't yet. I do plan on upgrading. Kenny, though, what are your thoughts on the matter?
The list of games right now is kind of short, and also one of them we recently just got, Super Mario 64 came in the new All-Stars pack that just came out, and not only that, but this is the trying to think of how to phrase this correctly. The online expansion pass is emulated. The 64 All-Star pack is not a remaster technically, but it has some additional fixes or improvements to the way the gameplay rolls out. So I look at the list of games. I don't know that I can justify myself spending the price for the list of games. I love 64. When I was a kid, my brother got PlayStation 1 and I got N64. And that was kind of where we divided as players. But I'm not entirely sold just yet. The more games that come out will definitely push me toward a direction. We'll see what comes out. I've been critical of Nintendo. They're easy to make you respend money on games that you've already played a bunch of times. Ocarina of Time's a fantastic game. I love it, but I still have my, I still have a way to play it. Might be the 3DS version, it might be the N64 version, and I can just go back and hook those up and play them as is. It's not my number one Zelda, but I understand why it is a lot of people's number one Zeldas. And so if there's a game on that list right now that you love and you want to play, it's spend the money on it. If there's no game that you're totally in love with or inspired by, wait, because seeing how they did it with the NES version, seeing how they did it with the Super NES version, they're going to continue to add games. It's going to grow and expand, and eventually the money will be there, will be worth it, whether you're buying the single plan or you find friends or family to do the family plan with, because there is a $30 difference there. The individual plan is $50. And you get all the original online services, so you can look at it like you're only spending $30 more. But $30 more a year is still $30 more a year. Whereas if you get the family plan, I think it's $80. And if you have up to 8 friends or family that want to divide that with you, then you can divide that, and the cost breakdown becomes definitely significantly more worth it. So right now I'm not sold. But I know as the games list expands, depending on the games that come out, I will probably up my my subscription to the family or to the expansion pass.
A follow-up question to that: is there a game, because you mentioned specifically it's the games or lack thereof of interesting titles that are keeping you from getting it? Is there a specific NEX? Is there a specific or title or titles that would sway you should they announce them?
Somebody mentioned GoldenEye. Definitely a possibility if you can do it. Have the LAN multiplayer work. That's one of the games that was major for me growing up. Banjo-Kazooie. He's in Smash. Is it possible?
Now that has been announced.
Yeah,
that has been announced.
It has been announced.
Yeah.
Then probably that'll be the game that might do it for me. Hell, man, even give me Wave Runner. Wave Runner was a game that I played when I was so bored. I loved that game as a kid. So there's a catalog of games out there. I'm just terrified that Nintendo doesn't, and I understand why, absolutely. There's rights issues and and copyright and trademark and everything that goes behind it. They can't put the entire catalog on there. I wish they could. I'm sure they wish they could, because Nintendo is one of those companies that wants to please their fans way more than any other company. But like we're gonna be limited with what we receive, and so I'm just not sold yet. But I know in the first year they're gonna do something that'll probably take my money. So we just got to get there.
I hear you. So I guess you kind of answered the question of like, do you feel like it's worth it too? And I guess you kind of said, well, if there are at least a couple games on here that you feel like you're gonna play, it's worth it. And I echo that sentiment. And it's because of something that you said earlier in your statement, in that Nintendo doesn't discount their games. You know what I mean? Like Smash Brothers Melee is still like $70 somewhere, like on the low end. You know what I mean?
And that's that they don't even. Yeah, it's they put a game out on their digital marketplace and it's full value, and we all go for it because we're nostalgic for it, and that's great. But they don't discount.
Right, and but you know, to that point, to get all these games, especially if you feel like playing them for a low price, then I at least in my mind, it's worth it. It's worth it to me because I plan on playing at least 2 games from there, which is Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, and Star Fox 64 too. Anybody else got anything? Does anybody play Animal Crossing? All right. Well, does anybody else
not us.
You get the DLC free for that too. So if you play Animal Crossing, you know, it might even just be worth it if you're gonna buy the DLC to it as well. All right. So last up, there's not too much that we wanted to talk about with this next thing, which was the state of play happened. Any interesting games come out of that for you guys?
I feel like a lot of games, like everything was like front loaded in like E3 and stuff. There's not a lot of games in state of play. So like, okay, I already have everything, but I don't know, Kenny, you got anything?
Yeah, sorry. I was distracted by it's reset. Okay. For the state of play, there's just one game. Like I watched it, watched the whole thing, was kind of disappointed, just because I thought they would announce some like Gotham Knight stuff or even new God of War stuff, like just something. Last of Us 2 is supposed to have multiplayer DLC coming out at some point. Felt like we didn't get any of that, so I kind of was disappointed by it. But there was one game, and I'm absolutely blanking on the name. Is
Deathverse.
Yeah. So the trailer for Deathverse reminded me of something that I had played as a teenager.
We have another spectacular show of guts, glory, and gore for you today. Your face on TV. Go hunting time! Hunter G! Oh yeah!
thinking it out. It feels like an old sort of God, now I'm blanking on the other name. What are not Killer Instinct, the what did I say before we started the show?
I know. I'm trying to remember it. It's what did you say? I
It's a
can't remember.
primarily PC game.
Unreal Tournament.
Frack.
Unreal
There we
Tournament.
go. There we go. Okay. So Deathverse reminded me of an kind of a modern version of an Unreal Tournament game, where you kind of placed into this battle arena. I don't know if I don't know enough about it, which makes me want to know more about it, especially seeing the basics, that Unreal Tournament style. Like if you get to pick a champion, knowing how modern games go, I'm sure they're going to have abilities or like different ways of gameplay or different guns or just whatever it is. Like I'm so intrigued. Out of all of the games that I saw, that was the game that I was the most curious to learn more about. I know that there's a new Five Nights at Freddy's, which I've never cared about that franchise. I know a lot of people do, and I'm excited for you. Definitely never going to be a game that I pick up. And then there's a free-to-play game coming out if you're a PSN player, which is very Among Us, and there's also a PC-ish version of a game like it where you don't know who the bad person is or what the villain's intentions are, and you think that everybody's working together until they're not. I can't remember the name of that game off the top of my head, but that was another game that was mentioned, and it's free. I think it's PSN like free to play at on November 4th. So if you're a PSN member, you're going to see it. Highly suggest at least checking out the trailer. If you like the Among Us style game where you got to find out who the murderous person is, which I always enjoy those board games. So
Right on. Yeah, thanks for thanks for taking us on through that, because that was pretty much about as much interest as I've think we had.
It wasn't a good state of play. So yeah.
But I agree with what I think what Tyler was kind of pointing out earlier is I think they kind of front loaded the year with their announcements. I think they wanted to kind of compete better with E3, and then they gave us a lot of stuff that's a lot of tantalizing stuff that's coming out further out. So and I think they kind of told us everything that's coming out this year already. So not much to expect. All right. With that being said, I'm gonna close us on out of here. Have a good all night. Have a good weekend whenever this video comes out, and we'll as we frack and power down.